Welcome to the Roanoke Street Podcast. I'm John Wilburn here with Marie March, and we have Andrew and Zach from New River Engraving. Say hi.
Hello, sir. How's it going?
You like our snazzy new mic? You like this? We're doing something because there's a lot of reverb in this room, and the sound is kind of wonky, so that's what we've got this for today. We want you guys to be able to hear them. Tell us about the wrecking crew back here. We've got Deet, we've got Jonathan. These guys are helping us to look less hackish than we usually do, and we really appreciate them. So,
and they're going to duck in on camera just to kind of wave here.
Come on, guys. Come on up here.
We're going to do it?
Yeah, we'll do it.
Right.
See?
These are the guys.
See?
Don't forget to move the mic in front of the people talking.
I promised you I would forget before we ever started. Come on in. This place is open today. Yeah, that's okay. You can come on. No, we'll just call. Yeah, it's all good.
All right. We won't be able to hear them because they don't have the mic.
The shop is open today because all of this stuff we do, live on location, no scripts. These are real businesses. They are open.
We don't want to interrupt people's business.
Nah, we want to show you what's actually going on. So part of this is part of it. So this is a neat place in town. And when I first came acquainted with it, they did some work for me, for my training classes. And I just think their work is really neat, fantastic. I hadn't seen anybody do a process like this, and they actually sold me on this. So come to find out, there's a lot more to engraving than just etching trophies. So I wanted to ask these guys about some of the things they do and how long they've been here and all of that. So let's ask Zach. So tell us a little bit about New River Engraving, what you do and how long you've been doing it and all of that.
My parents started this business about 26 years ago. It's pretty interesting because at the same time I would have thought there's not a lot that's interesting about engraving because it seems so basic, but with all the different things we can do and different processes, there's a lot that we can handle.
What are some of those processes? Like, what are they called? Because I know I took a graphic arts class in college, and I know there's like flexo and litho and all these different things, and pad stamping. I don't even know the terminology, but I would guess you have a lot of this equipment here.
Yes, we have a couple different laser engravers here. We have the old school kind of hand engraver. We have a direct printer now. Sublimation. There's a lot of different processes that go into each one of these products, and every person that comes in is different with what they would need, which process we would need to be able to use to handle what they need.
And the cool thing is, I think he's going to give us a tour and kind of show us some of those different processes.
It's really neat in the back. I mean, it's so much more than engraving. Like, hammer and chisel stuff is literally what I think of. But these guys have a lot of different processes. I mean, these signs that you see in the background, there's a lot of different ways you can brand your products and have signs and such.
Were they digital when you first opened, when your dad and mom first opened? I'm sure it wasn't.
No, they were not digital. They DOS programs is what they were using, and my dad still uses the DOS program. He doesn't know how to use all the stuff that me and Andrew know how to use, so it's a good thing that we're here.
He's an analog guy in a digital world like me, right?
Yes, and my mom too, yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. Do you have any samples, anything that you want to show us, like at the wall? Tell us how some of these things are done, because I think there's a lot of neat stuff back here. I have no idea how you do it.
Yeah, like this is one of our newer processes. So this would be kind of the modern way now. This is actually direct printed directly onto the plaque. Before it used to always be, like a rectangle plate and you engrave on it. But now, with being able to print directly on it, it gives it a new look. This picture is raised, so there's a little bit new dimension to it.
This is three-dimensional. It almost looks like it's just printed, but it's not. It's actually got texture to it.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a raise to it. And Andrew can show you something, one of the wooden plaques that we can do, which is pretty cool on that side.
Something that this is kind of where plaques went after the traditional just diamond dragging into metal. We started using a laser engraver, and you can actually engrave right into the wood and get detail and do a photo and do text and all that kind of stuff right into a product. Yeah, this works with a laser. It basically works just like an inkjet printer would. Wherever the laser sees black in the photo, it burns the wood, and wherever it doesn't, it leaves it. And so you can do some grayscaling and half-toning and get a photo done using the laser. What traditional engraving would look like is more something like this, where you just have the engraving burned into like a brass plate. This was what the go-to was for years and years. And when me and Zach first started working here, this is pretty much all we did was this type of plaque. And now with the new technology and stuff we use, you can see the full color and different products and different substrates that we can use to print color on. Kind of like what Zach was showing you before. With that printer, you can actually print from various products, from onto wood, onto canvas, onto acrylic and glass. There's so many different products that you can use to put stuff on now. So a lot of people are going this route versus the traditional engraving, because you can incorporate your branding, put your color logo and all that kind of stuff on there as well.
I bet that equipment is very expensive too.
It's kind of expensive, and there's a lot of daily maintenance and upkeep
sure.
when you get into that kind of stuff, because you've got continuous ink that's running through your machine, and you've got to make sure everything stays clean. But we've done a pretty good job so far. We do better keeping that clean than our lasers, as you'll see when we get back in the back. You'll see the lasers need a little bit of cleaning done, but we try to stay on top of all the maintenance.
And here's just another piece that just shows kind of how far it's came from, you know, where it was, like the traditional kind of plaque, the black and gold. Like now, it kind of looks like it's a hokey stone, so this is a very, very popular piece. And, you know, it's just a way to showcase a little bit more what we can do.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
Are y'all able to get local materials at all, or does most everything already come in pre-formed, I mean, I'm sure this is a big industry, so I'm sure a lot of it you order, like say the hokey stone elsewhere. But I just wondered if there's any amount of this that is made in America, or at least are made local at all.
I guess most of the things that would be local would be people bringing stuff in. Most of the stuff we do, we have to order from companies that, you know, they carry, you know, 500 plaques or something, and, you know, we order them. But people will bring in, like, what was the company that brought in the railroad, or not the railroad ties,
The pins.
the nails. Remember the wooden nails?
Oh yeah, that was a timber frame company brought in to market what they were doing. They were actually doing it at Floyd Fest, and we burned a bunch of the ties that they use in the timber trusses, and we put their logo and stuff on it, and they were giving those out as giveaways. We do have one local vendor. I say local, but they're from Virginia, that we get a lot of the real wood, like the real wood boards that we use. We get that, we source that from Virginia.
That's awesome.
So we are able to use some, and then we actually have 2 local woodworking guys that do a lot of stuff for us. So like we have a custom item we have to do, we get them to make us a custom piece of wood or something for a special project. So we're able to use some local kind of craftsmen to do stuff like that.
That's awesome.
Another item that Zach's getting ready to show you is gun parts. That's a big part of our business, is marking gun parts, and these are for Alexander Arms, and we do a lot of stuff for them. And you can mark from caliber, but we also have people bring in their personal guns and do graphics and logos and pictures and stuff on their own personal firearms as well.
He did the dust covers for some AR-15s we had in a builder class. These are AR-15 upper receivers here. All the NFA items, like machine guns, silencers, things like that, they have to be serialized. You guys can do the serial numbers for them too, I'd imagine. You have some call for that?
Yes, yeah. Some people, because there's 2 different ways to do it. Like this is laser engraved into it, and then there's like kind of the old school diamond drag. That's the way where they want to get like their serial number or whatever like that, you know, put into it. But most people, this is the way that they when they come in, they want to get it looking like this. And Alexander Arms, you know, they bring us, you know, tons at a time to do. So that's some of the work that's local that we're talking about, that, you know, people bring in what they need to get done. So.
Yeah, you guys with Gucci ARs, this is the place. That's good looking work.
Yeah.
How long have you guys been here in this spot? You've been here a long time.
We've been here 23 years. Across the street is where my parents opened up. It was one little office that merged to two, then it merged to a third right across like the hallway, and it was just getting a little bit, we were getting too big. So this place, when it went for rent, they came in and rented it, and we've been here ever since. We have a lot of room in the upstairs, which you can't really see in the downstairs, but we're able to spread out here.
How long have you been here?
I've been here, I guess I started when I was 13, so that's 20 years now. But I worked from my bedroom. My parents would bring me boxes of trophies to the house, and I'd just sit there watching TV. And then I guess I really started coming in, me and him, in sophomore year, so 15 years old is when we really started coming down here. So
wow,
I got a couple years on them.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah, I didn't do any trophies at home, but I didn't live with them. But we started, both of us, our sophomore year of high school, and then I kept working here while I was in school at Radford, and then me and Zach decided, hey, I think this is what we want to do. So we stayed on, and we, over the years started slowly, moving in the direction that we want to go, and adding some new things to the store and doing some different things, and it's been a lot of fun.
What did y'all get your degrees in? Just curious.
I did management and marketing
Gotcha.
at Radford. Yeah,
Yep.
and the whole time I was there, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but as I kept working
But
here,
it's applicable to this.
yeah, it is.
definitely.
And then being able to work. Me and Zach have known each other since we were in preschool, and being able to work with your best friend every day makes it. I've never had a day where I've woken up and like, oh, I got to go to work. There's
awesome.
days where I'm like, oh man, I got way too much to do that I'm not gonna be able to do. But I always enjoy coming into work, and we have a good time, and so it was an easy decision to stick around and see how it went.
That's awesome.
What's the wildest project you've ever had to do here? Because I'm sure people have some vivid imaginations of things that you've tried to pull off.
We engraved someone's arm one time, and it caught on fire.
Their arm?
No, I'm just kidding. As far as wild projects, we've had a lot of strange.
It is a college town, so
Yeah,
I wasn't really shocked.
I have several times wanted to put my arm in there to see what it feels like, but I can't pull myself to do it. Let's see, some wild things that we've done. We've actually engraved on a candy bar before.
Really?
Yeah, someone, they wanted to do like a
It was an
anniversary.
something like that, and we engraved a message on like a Hershey bar, and
That's
they
really
wrapped
cool.
it back up and gave it to them.
That's
yeah, it was
really
pretty
cool.
cool.
How
Yeah.
did you hand engraved it? I'm
No,
assuming.
we used a laser, and so we just set the settings really light to where it wouldn't
That's
melt
what I
it,
was gonna say, does it not
and
get hot?
yeah, and it just barely etched it, but it etched enough to where there was contrast, and you could see like the message that they wanted to put on
That's
there.
really
It was
cool.
pretty neat.
That's just another thing I would never thought you guys could do.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's funny because pretty much anything we can mark. It just depends on, how much does it cost if we screw it up, if it's a valuable item, you don't want to test with something like that. But any kind of item that you can mark, we've messed around with
So
a
you
lot
can
of
even do
different-
jewelry, like rings or
Yeah,
bracelets or.
One of the few things we don't do is rings.
Yeah.
We don't have a machine where we can do
It's
the inside of a
tiny,
ring.
yeah.
We can do the outside. And we do anything with like a flat surface, so like a bracelet or a charm or anything like that. We do that. We don't sell any jewelry, but we can definitely engrave it. And now with so many people using like stainless items for jewelry, we can actually laser engrave it and put a black mark on it. So like people do pendants and stuff like that and have like names, or one of the cool things is like if someone has someone that passed away and they want to use their handwriting on something, we can actually take someone's handwriting and laser engrave it onto a piece of jewelry or a keepsake or something like that, so they have something from that person.
That is so awesome.
So that's been a popular thing for us to do too.
You guys have any things that are your favorite projects that come in here?
I typically always like the projects more so than just like the standard plaques, because it's nice to always try to figure out how we're going to do it. Like somebody brought in a motor and they wanted to mount the motor to the plaque, but it's really kind of hard to mount that because it can fall forward. So it's trying to figure out, well, how can we make this work? So I guess I like the challenges more than just the standard stuff. And he's pretty basic, so he likes the basic stuff.
I like it when there's a large quantity of something, so I don't have to change the machine out. So I like it when somebody does a bunch of cups like this, where I can get it set up once and just have a stack of them and keep running them. That way I can go on and start working on something else while the machine's running. The projects are fun, but a lot of times I'll let Zach handle some of the projects. He's got a little more patience for for figuring things out like that.
It sounds like you guys have complementary skills in that regard. He likes the things that are, the challenge and figuring out the individual piece, and then you like something that you can run a batch of.
Yeah, absolutely. He's always been one that likes to make contraptions. Like, even if we don't have a project going on, I come downstairs and he's got something put together that I'm like, what are you doing? But so he's always, his mind works that way, where he's thinking of, all right, we've got this and this. How can I make a completely different item? So it's pretty fun that he likes working on that kind of stuff, and I like doing more of the normal stuff. I like being able to just do multiple things and not have to think too hard.
They're very customer focused here too. Like we've had them do several things over the years. We had some parking signs not too long ago, and it's just amazing how customer focused and customer friendly my experience has always been with these guys. I mean, really, I should get my staff to emulate you guys, actually, come to think of it. I mean, they're really good to work with. I think the whole community probably feels that way about y'all.
Yeah, this is a very well-respected business in the community. It's been here a long time, and I like sending them my business. Is there anything else you guys want to add before we do a tour of this place?
I think when you mentioned the customer service, I think a lot of that comes from Jay and Becky. When they started it, their sole focus, and to this day, we've never had a meeting where they've said, we've got to increase our profits, or we've got to do this. It's always been, how can we help this person, or hey, this person asked for this. Can you guys see what you can do to?
They're caring and kind.
It's always
human
been about the
beings.
customers, and
Absolutely.
I think us starting working here at a young age, we didn't see any other way to do it other than just taking care of the customer. So I think they really kind of instilled that in us, and it's we don't do hardly any advertising. It's all word of mouth. So we rely on the customer that we take care of to go let somebody else know, hey, I went in, needed this, they got it done, and it was cheaper than what I needed, and they got it done fast, and they took care of me, and that's what we've always tried to strive to do.
Overserve. You all definitely do. That's always been my interaction.
That's another thing I've noticed here. It can be intimidating when you look at all of these processes, figuring out what you need, and you can't do it online. There's nothing you can do on the computer that can tell you everything you need to know. But when you come in here, these guys will tell you, hey, maybe this process will work better and give you the results you want. And sure enough, they know what they're doing. They've done this forever, and they're right. So I would never have thought about some of the work I've gotten done that looks great, but these guys know what they're doing. So if you come in, they can help you figure out how to achieve your goal, even if you don't know what process might get it.
And I think that's one thing that my parents, like what he was saying, kind of started at the start. They wanted you to come in and get exactly what you wanted, and like it didn't matter how much time it took to figure it out. Like that's, like he was saying, that's their goal, to make the customer happy. And I think that's why we were blessed to be able to come in with bosses that have never once also said, no, you can't do that, or this is how we're doing it. We've said, my path was a little different than his. He went to college, and I almost dropped out 2 weeks before I graduated because I was like, I ain't going anywhere. I'm just going to be here because I loved it so much, and they've let us grow. So with them being able to let us do whatever we wanted, it kind of feels like that's how we want the customers to be. Whatever you want, like when you come in, whatever you kind of want to do, we want to help you be able to get that. Kind of the way they have been, towards all of us down here.
That's so awesome.
Anything else? There's so much to see here. I mean, there's a showroom full of stuff, and there's a room full of machinery, so we need to go see it.
Let's engrave somebody's arm. So.
Come on, John.
Yeah.
Marie first.
Look at you.
He goes, I heard y'all have an elevator like this. Can I ride in it? A little bit of a fetish. He rides in it.
Oh, it's some guy that goes around filming elevators, and he has like thousands and thousands of views on his YouTube channel. It's like he travels around and
Can I get in here?
and does documentaries on different elevators across the country.
Okay, we're riding. Uh-oh.
You guys coming? I told Zach I want to do a haunted house
You won't need to.
and take everybody down on this
We
elevator.
filmed at the one in, is it one in Blacksburg or Christiansburg? The old house. They have a haunted house there every year.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's really cool. We shot up there. It was really supposed
One
to be
floor.
ghosts. It was an old boys' home back in the 30s, and this is,
Where was that?
it's in I think Blacksburg or Christiansburg. St. Albans. Thank
Oh
you.
my
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, we filmed it.
That was an experience.
Wow.
It didn't get stuck on you?
We just went back.
I figured it was a setup.
We went back to 1913.
Gosh. So how old is this building?
It burned down in the 50s. I think it was built in the 30s, and then they rebuilt it. So I think it's been Roses. Yeah, and some ice cream shop maybe.
This is kind of the anchor building for all of Christiansburg.
There's a lot of interesting stuff down here. There's like a bar area kind of over here where like people like in the 50s used to sign their names and stuff. There was a lot of candy, I think, from Roses that they kept down here. And I don't know if you can tell. See how there's kind of like an alleyway right here? Mm-hmm. This used to be like duck pin bowling down here.
Yeah, there's a bowling alley down here, yeah.
Yeah, it was really random.
There, it's covered up now, but there was a like a painted on poster from the bowling alley on one of the walls down here somewhere that, yeah.
You all don't want to convert it back into the old retro? How cool would that be?
I would definitely want to do that. We actually set up some
Pinball machines.
targets down here and got BB guns and we caused too much damage. That was back when we were younger.
Yeah. That was before we started actually doing work down here.
Yeah. Now we do work.
That was when you were 14.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or maybe last year.
Yeah.
Like it would be like a vase or something like this where you etch it and then paint fill it. Or like a paver or bricks.
Okay.
We've got some of those upstairs. We can show you. We can get some shots of that when we go upstairs. But this is the machine we do to etch into bricks and pavers and glass and stuff like that.
Have you ever cut that on and forgot to close the door?
No. Because sand will go everywhere. I mean, I already get it everywhere with it being closed, but yeah, it's pretty easy to. It has a foot pedal on it, so the sand only comes out when you hit that. So even if you open the door, as long as you haven't been running it, it's not going to get everywhere on you. But it's pretty loud. It takes an air compressor to run it, so that runs, the machine runs, and it's. I have to wear headphones and stuff down here to be able to stand it.
That's actually a similar process to how they do tombstones.
Yeah.
Granite tombstones.
Yeah.
Just on a smaller scale.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, and I'll run it. This is probably my least favorite thing to do because I'll go home and I'll have sand in my teeth and in my hair, and it feels like I've been at the beach all day, but didn't get to enjoy the beach.
There's a reason why he's the only one that knows how to. He's the only one that knows how to use it because I don't want to have sand all in my hair and teeth.
I haven't been able to convince anybody to train them on it yet. And I think Jay was.
I was gonna say I think I just heard the door close, so he's.
So this is mainly storage. The rest of this room, there's no other machinery processes that go on.
Just his hand engraving
There's a
machine.
couple over here.
Okay.
He does some stuff down here, and then the sand etch, and then everything else is assembly or storage for trophy parts or plaques, and a lot of our gift items and stuff we have stored over here. So this is kind of where we send the younger guys down here to put stuff together, and then Jay comes down here to get away from everybody and use his hand machine and listen to his own music for a little while.
I've lived here 24 years and never knew any of this was down here, so I can see why it's a good hiding spot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's really. This is where Sheeler Motor Mile we make most of their trophies and stuff. With the younger kids can come spread out, and they can play their music extremely loud, and no one can really hear them. So that's what's. It's a nice spot for teenagers to come work.
That's great.
Work.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, that's just the old way of doing stuff. I mean, I learned on this when I was probably, or on something like this when I was like, I don't know, 14, 15. Yeah.
How old is this machine?
This one, I would guess, is probably from the mid 80s. This one's probably I don't know, 35 or so years old, something like that.
How does it, like, so
Maybe.
kind of how does it work?
It's follow the letters.
Oh, it's
Yep.
like a key
So
code.
exactly. So you're going to
I don't know the
simply
mechanism. That's what I'm
you're
curious
going to
about.
put something in right here, and you're going to follow these letters here and hold your. This is the
So this is completely manual.
exactly
Really?
totally manual, everything, and all by eye. So you put something in, you have to really look and see,
But you didn't miss a part.
and where you're centering it.
You're controlling the depth of cut with the pressure by your finger.
Exactly, exactly, exactly right.
So I bet this is pretty time consuming.
Extremely time consuming. In the old days, I worked at CMT when I was in tech, and we used to engrave every single trophy plate like this. You put one plate in at a time, put the lines in, and you go through every letter, one letter at a time, all the way over.
How
And
long
all,
do these last? 'Cause they look like they're brass.
they are long time.
Do they wear out because you're tracing it with a steel tip on
They
that?
can, and you eventually just have to replace them because you'll find yourself slipping out. You know, you'll be going around, all of a sudden it'll be boop, out you'll come, and then, yeah, that's no fun. That's no fun. And no big deal on a trophy plate, but you have somebody's nice, beautiful silver tray in there.
It's one letter from being finished.
Oh, and I've done it so many times, and you're just like, oh man. I mean, hours. You'll have literally hours of work in it this way.
So is it like covering up a tattoo when that happens? Or are you calling them up, hey, wouldn't you rather it say this?
Can we change your name? You know, just spelling your name. Can we add an E to the end of that, or?
That anniversary date, we can change that by, 10 days, just to add a 1, whatever.
That's it. I mean, it's just, you're done. So, and extremely time consuming. You're very limited to the fonts. I mean, I'm sure like Andrew showed you, we have so many fonts available, by computer.
Do they even make these anymore?
Mhm.
I mean, they do.
Yep, you can still get them. This company will, New Hermes will still, this thing is still, I mean, it's useful. Like these were coins. I have a guy who comes, he is such an awesome guy. His name's Jack Sheeler. He and his wife go all around the country and take veterans who have been wounded a coin, and we put their name on it. Wow. So this is one of the guys right here, Sergeant Joshua. I don't have I can put him on a Boucher probably, or Bouchard, yeah. But he drives all over the country and takes these coins to these guys. Yeah, to let them know that, someone is thinking about them, that they're not forgotten.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really awesome. He is just a super guy.
This is a low-tech machine, but it's very precise.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can feel there's no play in this at all, and that's what it takes, because if you had 10 thousandths of slop in here, all the letters would just be fuzzy. So this is a really well-made piece.
It is, and it engraves beautifully. I mean, so many just small things. I mean, these coins, it's the only way I can think of that you can do them. They have just a really little small slot in them to put someone's name.
So how many hours would just this alone take you?
Not bad. I mean,
And you're quick because you've done this for a living.
exactly.
So.
I did 9 coins the other day, or 10 coins in about an hour.
Wow.
So not bad.
So this is an automotive bumper jack. What in the world does that do for this machine?
Let's go up and down.
Okay.
So now we're going to engrave. I'll show you what you can change out. If you're going to engrave a big bowl or something with that's big, it's got some some depth to it, you got to be able to lower your machine. Yeah. Or if you're going to add like
I really like that vise. It's much taller than a machinist vise.
Yeah.
I'd imagine you get a lot of control with that.
You
Probably
really
just
do.
Slide out.
you do. And so if you're going to do a big bowl or a cup or something like that, just got to go and just add some pieces.
Huh.
Yeah. Like what I had on just there was just a little,
And that's how you
This-
get the extra axis to spin your work.
exactly.
I see.
This was like to do a ring or something, or again, the coin. You've got a round, clamps the coin perfectly in that little, or it was made for watches.
Do you buy these dies, or do you? I didn't know if you made
You
them
can buy
to do
them.
them. Okay. I didn't know if y'all had to make your own dies.
We make our own dies upstairs for a lot of things that we have to do. But yeah, these guys are already made. So if you're going to do a cup or something.
Oh.
Yeah. And there's both sides. Boom. And so now I can clamp, and I'll show you.
And that centers the work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a machine shop. Just instead of using a motor, you're just doing it by hand.
I love seeing the old ways. They're usually the better ways.
This is great.
They're just more time consuming.
All right, so let's say you're going to do a Jefferson cup.
And what, a Jefferson cup?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And this is a pewter one. So boom, and that's how you hold it.
And that centers it up.
Exactly. So now, let's engrave it. And
Looks like our car dealer doing that. He's so
Right there
smooth.
is one of the ones you were talking about. What happens when you accidentally mess it up? You can see, and then it turns into a practice piece. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. It becomes a practice cup. Zach, can you hand me this blue one right there? Yep. Thanks, buddy.
Yes, boss. That's
That's-
what makes us refer to him.
That's been the blessing of this business, because these
with
guys,
family.
these guys have been here since they were 14, 15? I think 15. Yeah,
They were sitting in their
And-
rooms making trophies.
they did.
at 14.
Oh, they did. And they're the bosses now. I mean, I just kind of, they kind of show me what to do or tell me what to do. But how about a nice pretty M for Marie? How about that? Yeah.
That is a pretty
Mm-hmm. That's a interlocking monogram in. Yeah. All right. So, and this, John, this we're talking about being delicate or whatever. This is how you adjust your size with this. Upstairs, we can make it as big or as small just by stretching it on the computer. This is how you change these guys. You adjust 3 little axes. Slide over there. Cool. There you go.
So what is the 3 that you're locking onto here?
It's just a size. I mean, it's just you have to have all 3 of these on the same number. And again, it goes from 2 to 7. So 2 being the largest I can make something, 7 being the
Preserve your scale.
smallest. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
This is going to let me adjust the size of the letter. So, and again by hand. All right. So let's make it the biggest we can make it. Let's see how big 2 is going to be. Okay, so that'll be nice and good size one. All right. Let's come up just a little so I don't have to stretch it out quite that far. There we go.
Do they even teach this in universities? I wouldn't think
Who
so.
would teach it?
I wouldn't
He would
think
teach
so.
it.
And the guy who taught me would not do this to save his life anymore. He would not. He would never do this anymore.
So
Okay.
we're talking to one of the last craftsmen that can do this.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know who else.
I don't
I'm
either.
sure they're out there, but I don't know. So now we just follow the letters. And on pewter,
Is pewter a softer
really
metal?
soft, super soft. So you only have to go really about 1 time over each one. It's got some little insides that you gotta get.
I would really have to wear glasses to do
Mm-hmm,
this.
I do. And it's got a little magnifying glass too if I have to pull
Yeah.
it down. Yeah, I can,
Yeah.
really see what's going on there.
It's kind of how they do surgery. I mean, this is kind of very similar.
All right, let's see what all we got in there.
You can tell he's doing that by feel too.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
All right, we
I
can
like
just
how
take
it can
a look.
change the scale.
Mm-hmm. Because you got to do something small.
Do you just eyeball what scale you think you should use because you're so good at it?
Mm-hmm. You really do have to just look
So
at it and
beautiful,
see.
look at
Okay,
that.
there we go.
And he's done.
That's so neat.
Mm-hmm.
That is so neat.
Mm-hmm. And then you can add to it. You can, let's say, is that your last name? I know that's right for your last name, right? And right, what's your other initial?
March, Marie March.
Right, I
Oh,
know.
what do you mean?
Your-
M-E, Elizabeth.
See, that's what would go on each side.
So this particular machine, how often do you have to use this? Because this is very
At
manual.
least once a week.
That's what I was
When
wondering.
you're
Yep.
doing something, you know, at least once a week. So again, yeah, and that's correct, right? Elizabeth is your middle name, yep. All right, and you can put them as close together as you want. I usually like to get them kind of close together. So we come over a little like that. You can touch them if you want, or you can just get right outside. I usually go right outside. All right, I felt you do something. Yeah, that's what I felt you do. I felt you move.
There's always a degree of artistry to everybody's career, I believe.
All right, why did you move like that? Oh, I just showed you guys how I can screw something up. All right, you stay right.
So you're referencing from the inner edge there,
Mhm.
and then once you've got your reference points, you can move out and go wherever on the piece you want, I'd imagine.
Exactly. Okay, I'm never gonna hit that.
Could you imagine trying to learn to do this?
It's wild.
Somehow, I don't know why you move, but you can.
I saw it
I mean,
move.
there's no pressure.
It did. It just moved. Oh
I saw
yeah,
it
none
move
at
the
all.
tailstock over there, that's what
It
it
did,
did.
and I'll never hit this little guy again. So let's see if we can somehow. All right, let's try right there. All right, now you stay there. See if we can get close and make it. Might have a special little extra mark on yours, Marie.
It's all good. It's still really beautiful.
Yes.
There we go.
Look at that.
That's
It's
great.
amazing.
Slide over. And then slide your E in there. About right there. Let's come on over some more. About right there. You come about right. There. Okay. It's like painting. You got to get it. Most of the time is prep time. Just getting it all set up.
I will finally have my own cup that my kids won't be able to steal. They steal everything.
You tell them they won't get this one because you're.
They're not getting it. They won't be able to con their way around this one. Look at that.
There we go.
That is so beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And that's for you.
Love it. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. You are very welcome.
Marie, you were talking about where we get stuff from earlier. This is from a company in Richmond, Camelot Pewter, and that's where we get all of our pewter stuff from.
Glazing. They're a small company like us.
Wonder if they, do you think they actually brush it and do everything in-house?
They do it all
They
in-house.
bring in blanks and they make them from scratch?
They make it from scratch.
It's always good to know what's being made in America. We just like to point that out because a lot of this is coming back or it has stayed here, and it's really interesting to see. There is still a lot of manufacturing here. You know, you just kind of have to dig in and get behind the scenes.
And they stamp the bottom. See on the bottom, it's handcrafted in Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Mm-hmm.
Very neat. Now that we've seen the old school, we need to see the new school upstairs.
All right, sounds good.
So right now we're going to do a tumbler. You can see on this screen behind me, we're going to do the Due South logo on it, so it comes up on this screen. We take the tumbler and put it in here. Most things that are put in the laser are engraved flat. The laser goes back and forth. This actually has like almost like a rotisserie. It goes in, so it'll turn the cup as it's engraving. We have to set our height to make sure it's the right distance away from the tumbler. And then I have to check where it's going to engrave. Right now I have it set into where it's going to start right there. I think that's a little bit low, so I'm going to move it up just a little bit. All right, so now I'm set and I'm ready to go ahead. Let me leave the top open. We don't recommend this, but I think it'll look better while we're engraving this. Let me sneak around you and grab a... All right, so now I just got to hit start. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna show how quick that we can take a picture of them out here, go inside and put it on a canvas. So 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna take like 3 pictures because my wife always has me take several pictures because I never get a good one first. So now we're gonna take this, go inside and put it on a canvas for them. So where we're at is I just emailed myself the picture that I took outside of them. So now I'm going to bring this picture into our software system, CorelDRAW. Shrink it down. And then all I have to do is export it if we do just their picture for this canvas. M and J. Export. All right, and now we're good to go. There's tape laid down on this machine so we can do practice tests. So you can see right here where this is, we practice something here, put tape over. This line right here is our line where we want to put it. So I'm just going to put this right here. I'll press that button. And it does some calibrations to get it to the right level. And while it does that, then I come over to this computer and I'll pull up the actual image I have to pull up the same thing I just set up back there right here so I can send it over.
So the laser is finding the edge, and you just use these lines to get a head start on it.
Yes, sir. Yeah, there's a laser that finds the height. Everything that goes in here has to be completely flat. So the lasers continuously are checking to see what the highest point is. So if you put something in here that's not flat, it will have overspray and it will mess up your piece. So the laser right now is kind of checking out where it needs to be, and then the print head will come over and do all the color and everything on it. Just gotta hit start here. Actually, sometimes we have to put a primer behind it, but this time I'm not gonna put a primer behind it. I think this will end up looking really good. So now it's shooting over here. I can't actually look at the lights. It really affects my eyes. There's some like blinking lights in here. So if you want to put the camera on it, but me personally, it hurts my eyes. But it does look pretty cool when it's going. I looked at it when we had training, and then the next day I felt like I had a massive hangover. That's how bad. And they tell you have to be careful with your eyes looking at it. Most people it doesn't affect, but I'm just one of the people that unfortunately it affects a lot. Yeah, that purple light is what really seems to hurt my eyes. And I can sometimes even see the reflection like in there. I can't even look at that. There we go. It just shows you how quick you can do it, and that's really good detail, and that's on a canvas that you guys can hang up. So, once I get tweak it, and that's what we have to do down here a lot is tweak stuff, because you always think it's going to work the very first time, and sometimes it doesn't. Typically, when it's something that's custom brought in, we definitely make sure it's a little bit that we get it correct. But when you have things like this that you can tweak, and we know it's okay to tweak, then we'll just kind of get it in there and see what happens.
That looks great.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for this episode of the Roanoke Street Podcast. We want to thank New River Engraving and the whole team here. We also want to thank our new helpers in production here, Deet and Jonathan. I think this episode is going to turn out great. So that's it. We'll cut this as need be because I can't ever just, on cue. So, see, I'm already doing it. I'm 3 seconds in, I'm already screwing it up.
Kid. Well, I mean, no, you're a human being.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. Yeah. No filming that.
Third floor lingerie.
All right.